Good day. Of all the various science fiction universes, I would have to say that Aliens is rather unique. Mainly because Aliens is the second movie in the Aliens franchise. And the expanded universe for the Alien franchise expands from Aliens, not Alien. Now, there have been numerous video games released based upon Aliens, usually coupled with the Predator as well. The two PC games, Alien vs. Predator 1 and Alien vs. Predator 2, are both expanded from Aliens. You can see that with the weaponry and the various geopolitical unions that were shown in both games. Also, there have been several handheld games released that were based on Aliens. Most notably, actually I can't think of any off the top of my head except for Aliens the Thanatos Encounter, which was a terrible top-down game, and Aliens vs. Predator the Last of His Clan, which is one of those Game Boy games that was really slow and very awkward to play. And of course there was a PSP game called AVPR, which was not based upon Aliens per se. And AVPR, the PSP game, was not very good at all. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it was one of those mediocre games that you could play for 5 minutes and then just forget about. But in any event, there was a DS Homebrew game released called Alien DS. So today, we're going to take a look at that particular game. And so here we have the first main issue with Alien DS. It will not run on the Easy Flash 5. Instead, you get this nice psychedelic box thing, which is very nice to look at, but it's not that much of a game. So you're going to need to use another card. The card I'm going to be using is the DS Fire Link. And one jump cut in the card change letter, we have Alien DS. Although this game has much more to do with Aliens than it ever does with Alien. Mainly because in Alien you never saw any real guns. Sure, they had flamethrowers and modified cattle prods, but never a real projectile weapon. One thing I never understood is why did they have flamethrowers on a petrochemical hauler? Generally, you'd want to keep fire as far away from petrochemicals as you possibly could. Also, I'd like to point out that this font is the same font used in the Alien franchise, be it Alien singular or Aliens plural. Also, the developer was PAC. Now you have a total of 2 control options. You have the classic D-pad or the stylus control. I would recommend the stylus control because it's a little bit more fluid than the D-pad controls. And here is the HUD. Although here is the main screen, this is your basic HUD. You have your health bar here and the ammunition bar here. You depress on the bullet symbol here to reload, and also you have unlimited ammunition. The map's fairly good, it looks pretty nice, and it's a motion tracking map. One thing I'd like to point out is that the sound that the map emanates is the same sound used by the motion tracker in both Alien and Aliens. And also, as enemies get closer, the sound speeds up, so it makes it a little bit more suspenseful. Now also, it does not show the enemies unless they are actually moving. And here is the game. First and foremost, all the walls are at 90 degrees, because I think this thing uses something similar to the Wolfenstein 3D engine. Now there is some variation like that right there. Now the weapon design is pretty good. You can see it from the side instead of like in Quake 1 or Doom or Wolfenstein where you only see the barrel. It's pretty well designed. You get a nice carry handle there, you get a black box there which I assume is a power cell or something, because I don't think this thing is supposed to fire bullets, even though you have a bullet icon, because it pulls forward. All guns push towards the back. That's the recoil. Doesn't recoil forward, unless of course this is supposed to be a hyper-advanced air rifle. It does have a muzzle flash, which looks pretty good. The sparks from the ricochets look pretty good too. Now the overall object of this game is to do one of 3 things. First, you're supposed to kill things. Then, you're supposed to try to find a blue key, and then you're supposed to find an exit. Classic. The alien model looks pretty good, except the head's a bit blobby, I think. Also, you get flickering lights, which is nice and adds to the overall alien atmosphere. When things attack you, the screen turns red, but that's about it. The alien sound effects are pretty good too. But really, this game gets old fast. The one thing it does have going for it is that it's a homebrew game. And it's kind of amazing that just a small group of individuals were able to create something like this. I mean, think about games in the early 1990s. This would have fit in really nicely with Wolfenstein, Rise of the Triad, or even Duke Nukem, really. The 3D version, not the side-scroller. Overall, it's a mediocre game by today's standards. I mean, you just run around, shoot things, collect keys, and find the exits. And it doesn't really have that much playability, because it's just so boring after a while. And you can't save, so you're not going to get very far. But really, if you can appreciate its retroness, I suppose, you should be able to enjoy it for a few minutes. If you have a card that can play it, just give it a download, play it for a couple of minutes, and just leave it on there for times when you're really, really, really bored. But other than that, it's a pretty decent Aliens game, even if it is really mediocre. But other than that, that's Alien DS. So this is General Lotz wishing you good Super Metroid, good Quake 2, or whatever may or may not make you happy.
Loaded for speed!